I think we all get a little bit frustrated whenever we have to play with the builds that came in Get Famous. Del Sol Valley is just a mess. None of the builds really make sense. Some of them are missing toilets, some are just weird. So I solved this issue for myself a while back and I rebuilt the entire world. I already showed three of them in my previous video, but this time around I'm showing you the other final two community lots in the downtown area. So to start off, I'm going to show the Arcade A Go-Go build, but first show you what the EA build looked like, and then what I did. I actually do like this lot. I kept a lot of the vibes to it. I kept the color scheme. I kept the idea that they had with the posters in front, that sort of thing. And I just kind of built upon that and improved in my eyes the look of the build. But as far as Delso Valley builds go, I think this is probably the best one. So just to show you the whole outside vibe that they had going on, showing you here, you can see that there's a staircase to the upper floor, there's a door to backstage, and then there's also an access to the roof. The lounge itself is pretty simple and really open space concept kind of thing. Unfortunately, there were no dance floors in Get Famous, so they didn't include one here. Even the stage is kind of sad. I forget if we had platforms when Get Famous came out. I don't think we did. I think that's a later update. It's not amazing by any means, but I do see some effort in making the space feel sort of like a club. I think if the game spawned more Sims in a lot, this would feel better because I look at this and I think, yeah, this is sort of like what real clubs look like when they're not being used at night. Like they're just hugely empty because they're meant to house a lot of people. But in The Sims, that's not exactly the case because not as many Sims show up. Upstairs, there's a VIP area here on the left and a sitting area here on the right, but not a lot going on, just a private bathroom, and that's it. The sort of access to the roof that I was mentioning, this is not real. It looks like it, it looks like there would be a door here so you can come and possibly do the maintenance on the air conditioning, stuff like that, but they never actually included a staircase and a door. So it's just decorative. Final look at the build as we say goodbye to this one and say hello to my version. Okay, so here is my makeover of Orchid A Go-Go. First off, I tried to give it more dimension, so I created more bump outs and everything. I got rid of the full red and just made it sort of accent colors all through the build. I still kept the posters in front. I still kept the entryway sort of in the same style. I just raised up the build and put some stairs so it would look a little bit more dramatic. I did change the color scheme of the movie theater signs to a more red, so it fit the whole vibe, and I really went with the red as the main color for the build. But this build, as the one that I'm going to show you next, really shine best when it's nighttime. Now in night mode, you can fully appreciate and see the build come to life. So you see a lot of the lights that I put out. I put these lights in different sizes all around. The stripe here above the posters is more noticeable. I wanted this build to look like an old movie theater that was now a lounge. I think that was the idea that they had, and I really wanted to go with that as my idea as well. So as I said before, I just did more bump outs and more changes to the build so that it would have more dimension. I used a lot of platforms. This was one of the first builds I did with platforms. So I really don't think they had it when Get Famous came out. And I remember having a lot of fun with the platforms just to give it more dimension and something that we definitely couldn't do before, having multiple levels of things spotting here without necessarily having to use a full wall or it being an empty vacant space because you couldn't rise up the floor. So as you can see, I kept a staircase to the upper floor, and then I turned the access to the roof to an actual functional thing. So you can come up all the way here. There's a little bit more of storytelling attached to it that I'll explain a little bit later. In the back of the build, I got rid of the fence that they had. I didn't really understand it. I didn't see a need for it. I did turn this backstage door into something more obvious. I did close it off, so it's technically not functional, but it does suit the purpose of looking like a backstage door, which obviously you could only access if you were a VIP or one of the people that would actually be performing at the place. So jumping into the interior, you walk into this little hallway, and to the left over here, you have a bathroom. And then when you come in, you have a dance floor area and a stage set up for artists, concerts, whatever is going on. I put these signs over here as well as in the entrance. I thought of this maybe as the name of the place, written in Simlish or their logo, something like that. But I thought it looked nice and it gave it a little bit more of a realistic aspect to it. So through the stage and dance area, you come over to the bar. I didn't put a lot of tables as well. I put some seating at the bar. I put a couple of couches. I really customized this bar. I really had a lot of fun trying trying to make it fancy and make it look different. So it's a lot of pieces together. These are the little bar shelves that we have. In the back, I put a mirror. I put these pieces that are from Dine Out that have some lights to it. I put some decorations on the floor to make it feel fancy. I added the wine fridges that came with Dine Out. They're not functional, so I actually bury them a little bit into the wall so they wouldn't stick out so much, but they're still there for decoration. I kept it in a very red and black and white vibe. I even went with the zebra print over here. I'm usually not a zebra print guy, but I thought it worked out pretty well for this space. Over here, you see the store, and this is where we start accessing the backstage area. So when you come in through here, there's the storage room, and the storage room leads to the hallway that leads to the entrance of the backstage door. So I decorated this whole area over here really as a backstage and dressing room area. You even have an access to the stage through the store over here so that the artists that are performing, would just step out directly to the stage and not walk through the crowd. I really tried to make this look as much as possible as an actual dressing room. So I made this sort of vanity area over here. Here it would be the dressing area, all the outfits would be over here. And here all the amenities, there's some fruit, there's a champagne bottle, there's some towels, just again to make the VIP feel special. Through this hallway, there's also an access to the upstairs, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Coming back to the entrance of the building, to the right, straight away as you walk in, you have the private VIP area for guests. So you come in, there's a bathroom for them, and then a staircase that leads you up. Over here, I put a closet because I honestly had the space, and second, it's good as a woohoo place in a community lot. I put a DJ booth over here and a dance floor. And then I created this balcony overlooking the stage so that, VIPs had the best view of the artists and would get the best sound. It's not a huge VIP area, but I tried to make it interesting. So, again, I played a lot with split leveling. I was having a lot of fun with the platforms at the time, and I still think it feels special. I still feel like it looks like a VIP area. It's a lot more intimate. There's no bar, but I didn't put the bar because, if you have multiple bars at a venue like this, they only choose one. Even the DJ is the same thing. But since there's some instrument downstairs, I didn't think it was that bad to have a DJ booth up here. Also, maybe you want your sim to be a famous DJ or something like that. So your sim can be the one playing the music on this floor, for example, and downstairs is just the regular setup. Okay, now let's go back to the outside and to the staircase that leads to the upper floor. So when you come up the stairs, you walk into this hallway, which has the staircase that goes all the way down to the backstage area. Through this archway, you have a waiting room for maybe artists that are meeting with the manager of the lounge. It's a simple space, but I think it translates the idea that I was going for. Over here through the left of the hallway, you have the office of the manager. I made this really with a sim in mind, that would be managing this place all the time, that I would be having meetings with the VIPs all the time. Tried to give it personality, and I sort of saw it as someone who maybe grew up in Delso Valley or moved here to try to be famous and didn't really make it. So they ended up being a talent manager and then eventually bought the place to manage, the talent, manage the space, manage the idea, the experience, kind of moved up in life. Through the office, you come into this hallway over here. To the left, there's like a service kitchen, office kitchen. There's no stove. There's only a microwave, a fridge, and a coffee maker. And then over here in between the two hallways, you have two bathrooms, one on each side. I put this one more as the VIP one, so it looks slightly nicer. And this one would be the manager bathroom. So there's even a shower, because they would probably spend a lot of time here. Also, with that in mind, through here, you go through another hallway that has a staircase that leads to the roof. And then you have this small bedroom over here that I decorated it as maybe the actual manager's bedroom. So maybe they live here, maybe they just spend so much time here that they end up crashing at their workplace more often than they go home, or maybe they don't have a home and actually just live in the lounge. Who knows? The fun part is with the new expansion that was announced, business and hobbies, you might actually be able to live here and run this as your place because you'll be able to charge fees upon entering places. We still don't know, obviously, exactly how everything is going to work out because it's not out yet, but you can set up a place as residential as well as a business. So a multi-purpose lot like this one could definitely exist. Maybe you could put a stove in the kitchen or not, or you just live like that. There's no actual stove. But this, you can definitely lock off a few areas as employees only, others as just residential, and then the other ones as public, because that you'll be able to do. So I see a lot of potential in a surprisingly old build for a upcoming expansion. And finally, just showing you, I did create a staircase up to the roof. There's no purpose to this other than just the fact that they can go up. I didn't put anything up here. Maybe you have ideas to put something up here. At the time, we also didn't have the telescope. We just had that giant one. So obviously, I couldn't put it here. Maybe you want to put a telescope here so that the manager can go up and look at the stars. Maybe they die from asteroid hitting them. I don't know. But it was in the build. I liked how it looked in the build. So I wanted to keep it, but made it so that it was an actual functional thing. I honestly can't even tell you how much fun I actually had doing this build. I'm super proud of it. And I like the fact that I kept it really close to the vibe that EA had going. So the color scheme is the same. I didn't bulldoze the whole build this time. I just kind of adapted it and improved on it. I use this a lot all the time when I have Sims that go out clubbing or to a lounge. This is one of my favorites to come to. So hopefully you like it too. And finally, we reached the last community lot in Delso Valley. This is one of the builds that I find quite atrocious. I don't like it at all. I didn't like it at all when I saw it, and this one was a full bulldoze for me. Again, I appreciate maybe what they were going for, but this one just, I hate everything about it. It's not as bad as the museum that is in the back, but I really don't like it. So in the front, you do have this dramatic entrance, which I appreciate, and I think they did a good job at making it more of a statement. Through the back, there's not a lot happening. I feel like this lot is just a lot of round roof pieces and balconies. And that's pretty much it. Like it doesn't have a lot of substance to it. So when you come in, you are faced with this fountain smack in the middle of the room with some spandrels and columns around. To the right, you have what I'm guessing would be sort of the stage area. Again, no platforms at the time, but where you would receive the awards. I really don't like this. It's just too random for me. And then the choice of different color floors is just really weird. Over here on the left, you have a bar with an inexplicable empty table at the back. And there's not a lot more to it except a bathroom over here with the golden toilet. Upstairs, you come up, you have sort of a lofted platform area where I guess you could see the awards being handed out and you could see the bar. But again, there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of purpose to it either because there's just some couches over here, but there's really nothing to do. This kind of just serves the purpose of making the space elevated instead of being a one floor building. So, like I said, I really just don't see any value to it. I don't really want to bring my Sims here. I don't really want to play with this lot. I know that they were going for something fancy and a place for, awards and all that kind of stuff, but I really don't like the execution. So say goodbye to Studio PvP, and I will show you my version. All right, so as you can see straight away, big, 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 big change to the building. Nothing is remotely close to what it was here before. I didn't want to keep anything like it. I wanted to make my own thing. I even renamed it to Plumbob Theater. Again, just going with Plumbob Studios, all of that vibe. I think that sounded much better and much easier to remember. So I enjoyed this build a lot during the day. Again, like the previous lounge, this really comes alive at night. So I'm going to switch it now to show you. As you can see now at night, everything is just bright and shiny, and I really, really had a lot of fun building this. And I think this is my favorite build that I ever made. I went with so much detail. I tried so many things. Again, this was when platforms came out, and I just went crazy with the different levels, with the lighting. I really like it. I wanted to give it this super Art Deco vibe, like this theater has been here for a while now. And I think I really accomplished that. There's posters up front for a movie. I will show you because this sort of has a significance further inside. I still kept the entrance dramatic. There are two doors though. I made two different spaces. So basically a VIP side and then a common left side. Again, I will show you the purposes of each one, but I just wanted to highlight that. One of the favorite things that I did here on this build that I honestly never did again because it was quite a bit of work, but I think it looks great, is the lights on the steps. So this is all lights that I put on the platforms to make the steps actually light up. I think this really gives the glamour and that sort of Hollywood vibe to it. Just giving you now sort of an aerial shot of the build, just to take in the split leveling, the lights, all of those details. I'm not going to show you the back right now because the back now is tied to what's inside. So I'll show you when it makes sense. So now on the new entrance to this build, you have, like I said before, two different entries, one for VIPs, one for the commoners. It is split with the red velvet rope. This room is VIP only. I will show you in a second, but just so you know, there are bathrooms right as you come in, and I made sure to put the carpet in a different color over here when you walk in. Like, no, outside we kept it red, but inside, no, you are commoner. Only this area is is fancy. So let's start with the left, and I'll show you the purpose that I gave to the commoner side. So when you come in, you actually have a movie theater. And over here, I tried to create a stand to buy the tickets and to buy the popcorn and all that stuff. I made this whole piece over here with several things put together. I put these two TVs on here that you can turn on and put any sort of movie playing so that, it looks like a trailer or a preview of a movie that is airing. I put a bunch of posters, so again, the movies that would actually be in exhibition, and just try to make this look as much as possible as an actual movie theater counter. In the back, I even sneaked in sort of like an employees only area. This was because I had the bump out, and it's again one of the reasons I'm so proud of this build, because with every single little corner, I actually made it into a thing. That's now how I designed it. I started off by designing the outside, but somehow the inside really came together, and I had so much fun. It has a very realistic mindset, but I had so much fun doing it. It's purely for gameplay, and it's a Sims. Not all of these things function, but I really wanted to do it, and I think it looks pretty cool. So over here through the tickets and popcorn sale area, you arrive to the movie theater room, which again, I try to make a little bit dramatic and make it really feel like a movie theater. So it's pretty dark for starters. I put the lights on the steps, which are just made of platforms. You can see that I was going wild with the new feature, but this is something that I've seen in actual movie theaters. I think less now because they try to keep it more dark, but especially for The Sims, it plays off well. I did the rows in different levels, so it'd feel more like a actual audience space. And then I put the big screen from Movie Hangout. The chairs that I used are actually from Perfect Patio. I know that that's kind of a weird thought of using that kind of chair inside, but I tried a few of them and none of them really looked good. These, because they were so square, they really fit next to each other. So it feels like a proper row, established that this isn't going to move at all. This wasn't just a chair placed here. This is a whole row of seats. I really, really, really think it looks like a movie theater, and I hope you agree and that you like it. I can help but think, again, with a new expansion pack coming out, maybe you can actually turn this into a movie theater. I mean, not an actual movie theater. We still don't know how it's going to function, if you'll be able to do a community lot with multi-purpose, but if you can place a charge to enter this room, you can actually make it feel like your Sims are going to the movie theater. You can bring them for a date. I've done that in the past with this build, but it doesn't feel the same. They don't pay anything. They just walk in. Everything is open. Sims are just walking in randomly, in and out. So it doesn't feel the same, but if it's more locked in through different areas and spaces, I think it's going to bring this build to a next level. And I'm really, really looking forward to the release of this pack so that I can go into these builds and explore and see what I can actually make with them. Over here on the ground floor, still on the common area, you have again another red velvet rope. This is so that no randos go into the dressing area. Again, kind of like the previous lot, I just wanted to give the idea that Sims come here to perform or to be in an award show. So they have a fancy dressing room to get ready, maybe with their whole team, whatever, things don't work like that in The Sims, but I just wanted to give that purely for storytelling and purely for imagining, but I think it looks cool. They have their own private bathroom, and again, they have a door that leads to the stage. So I'm not going to show you that main room just now because it connects both sides. I will now show you the VIP section. So when you come in through the doors, you have free access to another dressing room. I kept it pretty similar to the other one. I just did sort of an inverted color scheme, but it's exactly the same thing, serves exactly the same purpose with the exact same sort of view in mind. And again, this one is not blocked off to anyone because this is just the VIP area. Continuing on the hallway, you also have another movie theater. But if you notice, unlike the other room, this one only has posters of one particular movie, the same posters that were outside. This is because when I was building this, I thought it would be fun to have a press room. So basically thinking, the actors, the director, whatever of this movie are here to promote the movie. So I set it up like that. You have a camera over here, you have plenty of studio lights, you have a chair for the interviewer, and then obviously the chair with a mic for the actor or the director or whoever was involved in the movie. I also put the video station over here. This is not exactly going to work with the room. It doesn't serve a purpose, but it does serve a storytelling purpose. And because this is a VIP room, I put some amenities over here. And there's some posters on the wall, maybe of past famous movies, that were released here, did press here, whatever, something like that. Okay, and now finally, through the fancy dressing room that is open to VIPs, I can show you the main room. So when you go all the way to the end, you have an access door to the stage. And this stage is in a very fancy room. This is the room that I created as a replacement for that sort of sad little corner stage for awards. So I made it really dramatic. I did multiple detailed flooring. I put carpet. I put the spandrels and the columns all in gold. I put an actual stage. And I kept it fairly simple. I put all in black around. There's a violin, there's a piano, and then the microphone. But I just wanted to make it more glamorous and really feel like this is where the fancy awards, the glamour, the whole stardom really happens. Okay, that's ground floor done. And as you can see, when you come in either side, you have a staircase that goes up to the first floor. So following the same logic, let's go first to the commoner area. So you come up the steps, you have this little hall that has a bathroom. And to the left, you have a restaurant. This will not function, or at least for now. Let's see again when the expansion pack comes out, all at the same time, all with the same purpose. If you have this place as a lounge, it won't work as a restaurant, but I wanted to give you options. Sometimes I come here and I switch this to a restaurant and have my Sims have dinner here or lunch here or whatever. Sometimes I come here as a lounge. I just change it depending on what I want. Hopefully with this new expansion pack, we'll be able to have multiple things going on, although I'm not sure if it will work with Dine Out plus something else, but we shall see. Over here, there's the kitchen, there's the waiter area, and over here in the back, you have a balcony. This is why I didn't show you what I had done before, because it would spoil kind of the thing. I made it so that there's this outdoor dining area option overlooking the Sims Hollywood world. Back to the hallway. If you go up the stairs, you can see that this area is once again red velvet rope locked because this section is going to be VIP or fancy, certain amount of stars entry kind of thing. Okay, now let's move over to the fancy side. So you have a mirrored hallway as it was on the other side. And through this side, I didn't build a restaurant, but instead I built this sort of as another press room. This maybe for a book release or something like that. With the new expansion pack coming out and with what I've seen, this can be maybe turned into is a classroom because you'll be able to teach any sort of skill. So maybe they're teaching writing. It can really be anything. I know I'm repeating myself, but again, I don't know how it's going to work. Hopefully, it'll be sort of like for rent. So you don't have to have an owner of the building to actually make the lots multi-purposed or split. So I'm hoping we can assign this as sort of a different room. You can do whatever you want with it. I went with this as purely storytelling, but maybe there's a function later on that we can add to it. And on the outside, on the balcony, I made it sort of like the launch party of this book. So you have a couple of drinks here, you have a lounge area. I didn't put a bar in this balcony because again, it would interfere with where does the bar person happen to spawn or go to actually serve drinks. So I just kept it as make-believe drinks. But if you want, you can add a bar. The beauty of community lots in The Sims is that you can add whatever you want to them when you're there to serve your purpose. So if you really want a bar here to have a bartender, you can just place one and make sure they're here to work. Now, back to the hallway. And unlike the other side, the peasant side, this one is open. So when you come in, you come to the fancy lounge space. I put a big stage over here with a couple of guitars, with a microphone, with a piano. I put some big speakers over here. I cover the windows. There's windows to the back, but I cover them with these blackout curtains. And then opposite from the stage, you have this bar, which I cannot tell you how long it took me and how much fun, actually, despite the amount of work, how much fun I had building it. So I put two bars over here. I know I was just talking about, oh, where does the bartender spawn? Well, in this case, either one side or the other. So it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to make it longer. Similar to the other build, I did a fancy custom bar back and put details on the floor. But in this case, I put more details on the floor. There's different colors. There's the gold. There's a lot going on. I really wanted to make it feel expensive. Like this is like you are coming into a very, very exclusive space. So now that we've seen the full interior and the whole light show, I can show you the back of the building and a few of the details I added. So again, there's windows over here because I felt weird if they weren't. But again, for the inside, I didn't want the light, so I blocked it off. But I did add this glass roof over here so that when you're inside the room during the day, light actually comes through. And despite the fact that it's not the same vibe as at night, it still feels cool and it still feels sort of fancy and, dramatic because light just shines in from above. So just a final look over the build during the daytime. Now I can explain a bit better. The movie posters in front are for the movie being premiered and released here with press, with everything. I just made this with a lot of storytelling and with a lot of background lore ideas to it. You can change the movie poster if you're playing in the acting career and you want to bring your Sims here and, they did a period piece. You can change the posters to the one that sort of looks like Marie Antoinette. It can definitely change and adapt to whatever you want. And again, not to repeat myself, but so curious to have the new expansion pack and see if I can actually make this into different spaces with different purposes. I'm really curious for that, and if we can, I will definitely make a video showing what I did, and hopefully you'll be able to upload it to the gallery with those functions. So we'll see. Future Paula will take care of that. For now, I leave you with the final glamour shot of this build. At the end of the video, I'm also gonna just add a few screenshots to show the place properly. I know that when it's a video tour, you can't really see the vibes of the inside of the rooms the same way. So I'll just put a few screenshots so you can appreciate that. All right, so there you have it, the final two community lots. I hope you like them. I had a lot of fun building them. I'm really proud, actually, of how much detail I brought to them. If you want to download them, they are available in the gallery. Just search my username, the BT Simmer, and you can find them there. In case you missed it, I did make another video touring the other three community lots that I rebuilt. I hope you're enjoying this tour, and I hope you're excited for the next parts. Let me know what you think of the builds and the direction I went with by leaving a comment here or on the gallery. I'm really excited to show you the next builds. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.